handle the truth.
Welcome to The Truth Hurts. This is your host, Sule Prince. Sule Prince.
Johnny, that really hurt.
Whether you like it or not, sometimes the truth hurts. The truth hurts. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Will set you free.
Today, I have a very special guest with me today, Dale Glover, and we are going to discuss a very interesting topic. We are going to discuss the Shroud of Turin. Now, many of you probably don't know this topic. You probably have heard of it, but never researched it deeply, or you may never have heard of the topic at all whatsoever. Well, we have Dale here to help us understand this topic and why it is important. Couldn't the shroud have been formed naturally by the body being wrapped in the cloth? And if you disagree with it, then how did the images form?
Okay, so obviously, if it isn't some kind of medieval artwork along the lines that the shroud skeptics like to say, the next option is saying, okay, well, maybe it covered a real body. And a lot of people in the natural category will even admit, yeah, and it covered Jesus specifically. But couldn't the images be formed naturally, just involving a human body being covered in a corpse, right? Maybe direct contact. We know our sweat and stuff like that can leave stains on cloths. So maybe there is some kind of direct contact between the body and the cloth, or some kind of gases during decomposition emitted from the body and created those images. Now, subsequent to Stirp, there have been various scientific experiments done to test whether this would work. These include lab and field experiments. So Eugenia Natowski conducted field experiments on this in Jerusalem itself, in the same environment and stuff, and they've all failed. They know they don't come anywhere close to replicating the shroud images in total with all of their minimal relevant features type deal. So yeah, maybe you can get an image, but it's not a superficial one, or it doesn't contain the three-dimensional information. So those all fail. So that's why most scientists who've studied the shroud images have been forced to kind of, question, well, could there be a supernatural explanation? Maybe some kind of, what most scientists think is that some kind of radiation must have emitted from the body and created those images. And there have been scientific experiments from 1990 onwards testing different forms of radiation, and they do actually reproduce images very similar to the shroud with its properties.
So would that be a theory that you'd hold? Some radiation came from the body of Jesus and put this image on the shroud?
Yes. So there are different types of radiation theories that have been proposed. I think the one that's best proposed to date is by a nuclear engineer named Bob Rucker, who's a friend of mine. His is called the vertically collimated radiation burst hypothesis. So at the moment of Jesus' resurrection, a burst of radiation emanated from the body. No, for him, the type of radiation was charged particles. So specifically protons is what was responsible for creating the images, because those wouldn't penetrate the cloth. They would just create superficial coloring and stuff like that on the image fibers. It would reflect the three-dimensional data and all of that. But there is also neutron irradiation, which is going to be relevant to the dating of the shroud, and we'll get to that in a future question. But so I think the charged particles radiation burst is the best hypothesis. And the reason I favor it is because with Bob Rucker, a lot of times on the pro-shroud side, when they're coming up with their radiation hypothesis, they'll work from the top down. They'll say, well, okay, so this is my theory. And okay, how can I make it fit the evidence? So they kind of tweak their experiments, or for ultraviolet radiation, they'll kind of tweak how long do I give the burst for to make it superficial. Bob Rucker's working in the opposite way, bottom up. He's saying, what are the facts? And then how do I explain these facts? What mechanism could explain all of this? So that's why I favor his hypothesis. And even skeptics have no response to his hypothesis and its incredible predictions that it makes, that it's easily testable and falsifiable. So I think it's by far the best.
So would you say that when Jesus was coming back into his body, there would have been this burst of radiation? Is that what you're saying? And that it would have forced his image on that cloth?
Yep, exactly. At that moment of the resurrection, Bob Rucker's calculated it would be the supernatural event. The moment of the resurrection lasted 1 femtosecond. That's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second. So, yeah, that was when that burst happened and emitted the images onto that cloth.
Now, that would have been interesting to see. Jesus coming back into the body and what would have happened.
But that's what the shroud is. It's literally a supernatural photograph of what Jesus was like at the moment of his resurrection. That's what it claims to be. So we've got that.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you just watched, click the subscribe button. And beside that is the bell icon. Click that. It will notify you of all upcoming videos. Also, if you like this video, click the like button. But if you don't like what you just watched, you don't agree, that's okay. Go into the comments, leave a comment. Let's dialogue and talk. Thank you.